Welcome to History Snacks. Make sure to subscribe for your daily bite-sized pieces of history. 1939 marked the last public execution by guillotine. Eugen Weidmann was the last person executed in this manner. The execution took place in France. Public executions were soon deemed barbaric and were outlawed. This event marked the end of an era. Hungarian Jews are being selected by Nazis at Auschwitz in May and June of 1944. This image from the Auschwitz album shows the horrific process of deciding who would be sent to the gas chambers. These selections were part of the systematic genocide of European Jews during World War II. The Holocaust resulted in the murder of 6 million Jews and others deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. February 1934 shows columns of the Hoover Dam being filled with concrete. The view is upstream from the Nevada Rim. The Hoover Dam was a massive public works project during the Great Depression. It provided jobs and water resources for the Southwest. It remains a symbol of American engineering and resilience. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Spencer destroys the Nazi submarine U-175 on April 17, 1943. This event was part of the Battle of the Atlantic during World War II. The Allies fought to keep vital supply lines open across the Atlantic. This victory contributed to the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany. 1923 shows Vladimir Lenin's last photo. He had suffered 3 strokes and was completely mute. Lenin's failing health marked a turning point in the Soviet Union. His death led to a power struggle. Joseph Stalin ultimately seized control and established a totalitarian regime. Eduard Bloch, the Jewish physician of the Hitler family, is seen in his office around 1938. Hitler later called Bloch a noble Jew and granted him personal protection. This unusual act highlights the complexities of Hitler's personal relationships. It stands in stark contrast to the widespread persecution of Jews during the Holocaust. Soviet troops scrawled graffiti in the Reichstag after they took Berlin in 1945. This act symbolized the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany. It marked the end of World War II in Europe. The graffiti served as a powerful statement of conquest and the beginning of a new era. A Jewish woman in Austria in 1938 sits on a park bench marked only for Jews, concealing her face. This photo captures the escalating persecution of Jews in Nazi-controlled Austria. The discriminatory laws and restrictions were part of the broader Nazi agenda. It aimed to isolate and dehumanize Jewish people, ultimately leading to the Holocaust. The Gadget, the first atomic bomb, stands ready in 1945. It was detonated during the Trinity test in New Mexico. This marked the beginning of the atomic age. The development and use of such weapons dramatically altered warfare and international relations. Jenny McGregor was arrested in Minneapolis on April 10, 1924. She was caught dispensing alcoholic beverages from life preserver flasks. Her arrest highlights the challenges and ingenuity during the Prohibition era in the United States. The 18th Amendment banned the manufacture and sale of alcohol. This led to widespread bootlegging and speakeasies. The crew of the Japanese carrier Zuikaku gives a final banzai cheer in 1944. They did this just before the ship sank. The Zuikaku was a key part of the Japanese naval fleet during World War II. Its sinking represented a significant loss for Japan. It signaled the shifting tide of the war in the Pacific. A boxing match aboard the USS New York takes place on July 3, 1899. This event shows recreation and morale-boosting activities for sailors. The USS New York was part of the U.S. Navy during a period of expansion. This expansion reflected America's growing global influence. Final preparations are made on the Fat Man atomic bomb. It was dropped on Nagasaki on August 9, 1945. The bomb had Janshfu stenciled on its nose. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki led to Japan's surrender. This event brought an end to World War II. It also ushered in the nuclear age. A young Hitler cheers at the start of World War I in 1914. This photo captures the initial enthusiasm for war that swept across Europe. World War I was a devastating conflict. It reshaped the geopolitical landscape and set the stage for future conflicts. The Eiffel Tower stands during the Nazi occupation in 1940. This image symbolizes the fall of France and the start of a dark period in its history. The Nazi occupation brought about significant changes. It impacted French society, culture, and politics. An American evacuee punches a South Vietnamese man in 1975. This was for a place on the last chopper out of the U.S. Embassy during the evacuation of Saigon. This chaotic scene marked the end of the Vietnam War. It represented a major failure of American foreign policy. The event led to the reunification of Vietnam under communist rule. A group of men poses in front of Lynch's slave market in St. Louis, Missouri in 1852. This photo shows the brutal reality of the slave trade in America. It highlights the dehumanization and commodification of enslaved people. This was a key aspect of the antebellum South. The institution of slavery led to immense suffering. It ultimately fueled the Civil War. The Statue of Liberty was under construction in France. France gifted the Statue of Liberty to the United States. It symbolized freedom and democracy. It remains a powerful symbol of international friendship. A photograph believed to be the last one taken of the Titanic shows the ship sailing before its tragic sinking. The Titanic sank in 1912. The disaster resulted in a significant loss of life. It highlighted the dangers of early 20th century ocean travel. One of the last Tasmanian tigers is seen here. The animal went extinct in 1936. This loss represents a tragic chapter in environmental history. It highlights the devastating impact of human actions on unique species. Habitat destruction and hunting led to their demise. George Hackenschmidt is credited with inventing the bench press. Hackenschmidt was a strongman and wrestler in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His innovations helped shape modern weightlifting. He was a pioneer in physical culture. Gandhi's few earthly possessions are displayed. He owned very little when he died. Gandhi's simple lifestyle reflected his philosophy of non-violence and self-sufficiency. His belongings symbolize his dedication to Indian independence and his commitment to social justice. Gutzon Borglum's original model for Mount Rushmore differs in some ways from the final sculpture. Mount Rushmore commemorates 4 U.S. presidents. It stands as a massive symbol of American history. Its creation was a monumental feat of engineering. Willard Scott created the very first iteration of Ronald McDonald in 1963. Scott was a popular TV personality at the time. Ronald McDonald became a globally recognized mascot for McDonald's. The character helped transform the fast food industry. Before the invention of radar, soldiers used large acoustic locators to listen for enemy planes. These devices were designed to amplify sound. They helped detect approaching aircraft. This technology was crucial in the early years of aviation. It was used before more advanced detection systems were developed. Selma Burke designed the portrait of Franklin Roosevelt. Her design is still on the dime today. Burke was a prominent sculptor during the Harlem Renaissance. This was a period of flourishing Black artistic and intellectual life in the 1920s and 1930s. Her work ensured lasting recognition on American currency. Louis Boutin captured one of the earliest underwater photographs in 1899. He used specialized equipment to protect the camera. Underwater photography was a groundbreaking achievement at the time. It opened new possibilities for marine exploration and documentation. The first Tour de France took place in 1903. Cyclists endured grueling stages across France. The race quickly became a symbol of French national pride. It also popularized cycling as a sport. The first international tennis match at Wimbledon occurred in 1883. Players competed on grass courts. Wimbledon established itself as a prestigious event. It helped to solidify tennis's global appeal. Chicago bar patrons celebrated on December 5, 1933. It was the day Prohibition was repealed. The 13-year ban on alcohol sales ended. This marked a significant shift in American social and legal policy. New York City is seen from space on 9/11/2001. Smoke billows from the site of the collapsed World Trade Center. The terrorist attacks had a profound impact. They reshaped American foreign policy and security measures. Albert Wilson was the last surviving veteran of the Civil War. He lived until 1956. Wilson's death symbolized the end of an era. It marked the passing of direct links to the nation's defining conflict. The USS Langley was the first United States aircraft carrier. It was converted from a collier in 1922. The Langley represented a major advancement in naval warfare. It paved the way for modern carrier operations. Central Park in New York City saw increased use during the Great Depression. People sought refuge and recreation in its green spaces. The Depression caused widespread unemployment and poverty. Parks like Central Park offered a free escape. The Titanic featured a fully equipped gym, including a rowing machine. Passengers could maintain their fitness during the voyage. The Titanic was the largest ship of its time, representing the pinnacle of luxury travel. Its sinking in 1912 led to significant changes in maritime safety regulations. Spectators at Al Capone's 1931 trial shielded their faces with hats. Some were rumored to be mobsters avoiding identification. Capone's trial marked a turning point in the fight against organized crime. It signified the government's efforts to dismantle powerful criminal empires during the Prohibition era. A plane flies over the old city of Baghdad in 1930. This image captures the early intersection of aviation and ancient urban landscapes. Baghdad, a city with a rich history, was undergoing modernization in the early 20th century. Air travel was becoming increasingly common, connecting distant parts of the world. Stefan Bobrowski, known as Lionel the Lion-Faced Man, had hypertrichosis. This condition caused excessive hair growth all over his body. Bobrowski became a sideshow performer, traveling the world. His unique appearance fascinated and sometimes frightened audiences in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This 1925 photo shows the last known Barbary lion in the wild. Barbary lions once roamed North Africa. Habitat loss and hunting led to their extinction in the wild. Conservation efforts are now focused on preserving their genetic legacy in captivity. Louis Daguerre took this photo in 1838. It's the first photograph to capture a human being. Photography was a revolutionary invention. It changed how we document and perceive the world. Lunar Orbiter 1 captured the first image of Earth from the Moon in 1966. This iconic photo offered a new perspective on our planet. It emphasized Earth's fragility and interconnectedness. The space race between the US and the Soviet Union spurred advancements in technology and our understanding of the universe. This 1895 X-ray image captures a human hand. It's the oldest surviving X-ray of the human body. Wilhelm Röntgen's discovery of X-rays revolutionized medicine. It allowed doctors to see inside the human body without surgery.